uncertain about the process we'll need to follow. We reside in Utah and the child's birth certificate will reflect both of our names. Since the donor's identity remains anonymous, I'm not biologically related to our child. I've been seeking clarification on whether adoption would be required in this situation, but I've been met with varying opinions from our friends. While it's my understanding that having our names on the birth certificate achieves the same purpose as adoption, I'm struggling to find definitive information on this topic. Any guidance or insight would be greatly appreciated. Edit. This question pertains to Utah law. The Uniform Parentage Act, UPA, governs parentage issues in Utah. While the UPA doesn't explicitly address anonymous sperm donations, it does provide a framework for establishing parentage. Update. I will do my best to provide a more detailed explanation of the UPA's provisions and their potential implications for your situation. TLDR. The answer to your question may depend on the specific circumstances and applicable laws. I threw a Christmas party a week ago, and no one other than my mom showed up. A few of my coworkers offered explanations when I asked about it the next time I saw them. But no one else even gave an excuse. It sucks too, 'cause I spent more money than I should have on the decorate. Last week, I hosted a Christmas gathering that left me feeling particularly disheartened, as only my mother was in attendance. When I inquired about the low turnout the following day, some of my colleagues offered half-hearted explanations, but the others remained eerily silent. This lack of effort in providing an excuse only added to my disappointment. It's especially galling, as I had overextended myself financially to make the event as festive as possible, complete with elaborate decorations and a sumptuous spread. As the evening wore on and the hours ticked by, I stood by the window, watching the darkness and waiting for the sound of footsteps that never came. It was only when I broke down in tears that my mother answered my call, ultimately being the sole person to join me in the empty house. The experience left me with a deep sense of hurt that I still struggle to articulate. Edit. To make this story more compelling, consider adding more sensory details to help the reader visualize the scene and feel the emotions of the protagonist. Update. If you want to make the story more relatable, consider adding more context about why the protagonist felt it was essential to host a Christmas party. TLDR. A person hosts a Christmas party and is left feeling heartbroken when my boyfriend asked me for a threesome with my cousin for his birthday. My cousin is gay and married. I'm not gay, and neither of us are into incest. He asked me to have a threesome with her as a 35th birthday present. Never mind that she is married and gay, he talked about her. My boyfriend made a surprise request for his 35th birthday celebration, a threesome with my cousin. What he failed to consider, however, is that my cousin is in a committed marriage and identifies as gay, while I am not attracted to the same sex. He seemed to view my cousin as an object rather than a person with her own agency and boundaries. The fact that he has only met her briefly, for a mere couple of minutes, makes it even more peculiar that he would suggest involving her in such a sensitive and intimate situation. What struck me as particularly disturbing was the inconsistency in his request. When I initially questioned the idea of a threesome, he expressed his aversion to any form of intimacy with another man, labeling it as disgusting. This hypocrisy left me feeling uneasy about his intentions and the manner in which he chose to approach me with this request. TLDR. The boyfriend asked me for a threesome with my gay, married cousin on his 35th birthday, treating her as an object, and showing a double standard in his views on intimacy. Edit. I did not include the full conversation as it was a bit heated, but this is the general idea of what was discussed. Update. I will keep you all updated on the situation. I just wanted. Wife got mad when she saw Black Santa and drove to another mall 20 minutes away for the kids to see White Santa. I asked her why she took so long taking the kids to get their photo taken from Santa, and she said that she had to drive to a mall on the other side of town because the S. A heated exchange erupted when my wife discovered a mall had cast a black individual as Santa Claus. In an effort to provide her children with a more traditional holiday experience, she drove to a different shopping center located on the opposite side of town, approximately 20 minutes away. When I inquired about the delay in taking the children to have their photos taken with Santa, my wife explained her decision to visit the alternative mall. She expressed her concern that the Santa at the initial location, being a person of color, might cause confusion or distress for the children. It became clear that she had prioritized a white Santa over the black one, a distinction that led to a lengthy detour. TLDR: wife drives 20 minutes to a different mall because the Santa there is black, not white. I was raped in prison. I live in NZ. In 2020 I was sentenced to prison for a month for running naked into a police station. Whilst in prison, a CO and at least 3 other males went into my cell in the middle of the night whilst I was asleep. Put some kind of cotton bag, probably a pie. Incident of unlawful assault in a correctional facility in 2020. I resided in New Zealand and was serving a 1-month prison sentence for an incident involving a public disturbance at a police station. During my incarceration, I experienced a traumatic event in the early hours of the night when at least 4 individuals, including a corrections officer, forcibly entered my cell while I was in a state of slumber. These individuals placed a makeshift blindfold, likely a pillowcase, over my head to conceal their identities, and then proceeded to commit a heinous act of group rape against me. This disturbing event remains unshared with my therapist, but it has led to dark and violent fantasies in my mind. These thoughts involve the graphic and brutal elimination of perpetrators of such atrocities through the use of a samurai sword or a close-range firearm. Edit: the story provided contains sensitive and disturbing content, which may be triggering for some individuals. The narrator's experiences and the nature of the events described are serious and warrant attention. TLDR: a person serving a prison sentence in New Zealand was subjected to a group rape by multiple individuals, including a corrections officer. The traumatic event has led to the narrator harboring graphic and violent fantasies. He asked me to suck his dick and I said no. It started a whole argument. I, F29, just spent an hour rubbing his back. M30, I asked him to rub my back too and he said he had to go to bed. He stayed up and asked me to kiss it, meaning his penis. I said no. And what about M? Our evening took an unexpected turn when he requested oral intimacy and I politely declined. The conversation escalated into an argument, despite the tender moment we had just shared. I, a 29-year-old woman, had spent the previous hour showing affection by gently massaging his back. My partner, a 30-year-old man, reciprocated with a request to be affectionate with me in return, but instead, he claimed he needed to rest. However, he stayed awake and asked me to show him affection in a specific manner, which I found uncomfortable. When I expressed my willingness to receive affection in return, he seemed uninterested. This has been an ongoing issue, as I have consistently shown him affection through oral intimacy, yet he has not reciprocated in the same way in months. Feeling frustrated and unappreciated, I have made a personal decision to withhold intimacy until we are more balanced in our affection towards each other. Do I have a valid reason to